It is halftime. Clemson at Wake Forest. Clemson is leading 28-14. They started off slow. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but put up 28 points in the second quarter. Welcome to the channel. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. It's free. So let's talk about it. Clemson comes out. They start, blah. Wake Forest goes up 7-0. The first time since the Georgia game that Clemson has trailed this entire season. It's also, if my memory serves me correct, the first score against Clemson in the first quarter all season. That includes the Georgia Bulldogs. Wake Forest came out, and they played pretty solid. Hank Bachmeier, 12 of 20, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he's throwing 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. And this game has really come down to Clemson having more talent. Clemson continued to progress and try to fix some of the mistakes they made early. We're seeing some sloppy football from the Tigers, namely on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen some sloppy football. And for the past 2 weeks, we've seen some questionable play here and there from the defense, and it continues for a third week in a row. So I am happy that Clemson has held them to 14 points in the first half. I was expecting that Wake Forest would not score on Clemson's defense unless Clemson got like 28 points ahead, 40 points ahead, and it was really, really quick. It was a game much like Appalachian State and NC State, to where all of a sudden you have a World War II veteran they're going to put in the game just for a heartwarming moment. And at that time, 97-year-old Frank Byers allows a touchdown against Wake Forest. That's what I expected. I didn't expect this. I expected Wake Forest to basically struggle. And they've put up a good fight. Let's talk about some of the stats. Right now, let me see. There's one stat that I was looking for. Let me see. Kylon Griffin had an interception. All right. And then the other interception was, let me see. Good grief. The other interception was, it said Kylon Griffin. I think I could be wrong. But anyway, Khalil Barnes got an interception. That was a big deal. So let's go to the stats. Sorry, y'all. I should have had that pulled up already. Let's talk total yardage. Right now, Clemson has 293 yards total. 191 in the air, 102 on the ground. That's a really nice stat. Really nice and balanced. No turnovers so far for the Tigers. They've had the ball about 15 minutes, 38 seconds. Right now, let me see. Forward, that's 28. Right now, Cade Klubnik, I think he's at, 68%? 68% of his passes. Let's talk about Wake Forest. They have 195 total yards, 126 of it is passing, 69 of it on the ground. But they've had 2 terrible turnovers, and that's what's really cost them. 14 minutes and 22 seconds is their time of possession. Clemson's had 18 first down. Wake Forest has had 12. Now, Clemson went for it on 4th down and goal. I really liked the play call here. Some of y'all are going to be like, hey, I can't ever make you happy. Well, I just said, do you hear that? You can put it in my baby book. I really like the play call. It reminded me of that 2018 package where they would put Christian Wilkins back there to block. Sometimes they'd give the football to Christian Wilkins. But they put Peter Woods back there. And you had Phil Maffa run in. By the way, Phil has 14 carries for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I really like that play. I'm glad that Dabo did not settle for the field goal. He's like, guys, we're playing Wake Forest. We have to score here. So they scored 28 points in the second quarter. By the way, leading receiver for the game, 5 receptions, 53 yards, Stellato. I like how Clemson got TJ Moore involved early on. First 2 passes went to him. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Brenningstool, getting the ball to Brenningstool. He's 6'6". Get the flipping ball to him. Don't do this. Don't do the thing that a lot of people do in football. They decide to do the right thing when it's too late. Oh, man, looking back, we should have given the football to him more. Don't do that. Don't be stupid. Do it today. And I'm glad to see them getting the football to Brenningstool. That's very, very good. Go into the comment sections real quick. John answered, defense looking rough. Yeah, they've had some good moments later on in the game, mainly the second quarter. But you are right. There's some things there that if Wake Forest can do this to you, imagine what Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama. I know Alabama's struggling with South Carolina right now, but you know that they would play up for Clemson. Imagine what those teams would do. So, and that's how I judge football teams, John. That's how I judge football teams. Imagine if, because if can come true. Like I said last week, not sure Wes is the best guy for the job. Throwing a little shade to Wes. Hey, teach their own. Will Eubanks, South Carolina is looking pretty good against Alabama. You're right. They're playing very, very well. Very, very well. Remember, my oldest is a South Carolina fan. Let's get down here. Mr. 72, defense just needs to bust through, not just wait for Wake Forest to do something. I understand. Heck of a response from the offense off those picks. Need to keep pushing. Every mistake, Wake is getting fed penalty yards. Yep, they sure are. Clean up the penalties in the second half and adjust to these slow handoff fakes. Yep, you're right. Official Mikey here. The Tigers was scaring me at first. Yeah, me too. Trust me. Wes concerns me running our D. Some questions out here. Still looks way better than the Wake game last year. Levi Clinkscales. Yeah, both teams has surpassed the yards they put up last year. Not the yards. Probably the yards, but the points that they both put up last year. So I'm glad that we have 28 points at the half, put up 28 points in a second quarter. And I'm glad Sweeney called the timeout and said, listen, we're not going to take a knee and try to get into the locker room. We need points right now. Folks, I'm liking that aggression. Now, did you hear me say that all is, fair and wonderful with Clemson? No. But I like that aggression. That's the aggression Clemson needs. If they could have went in 35-14, went into the half 35-14, that is great. That's wonderful. Let's do it. Why wouldn't we do it? I like the aggression. Way too much talent on the defensive side of the ball. Miss Coach V. I love that aggressive coaching Moffitt is eating right now. He sure is. As long as we don't overdo it, let's get him to 200 yards. I'd love to see him at 200 yards. At least 150. I mean, he's only, what was his yardage again? He has 91 yards. Yeah, he's only 59 yards away from 150. So let's continue to feed him. All right, folks, keys for the second half. Defense you have to continue to step it up. You have to continue to step it up. Whatever is going on that is allowing these receptions, whatever is going on that's getting you beat over the top, you are Clemson and you are flipping playing Wake Forest. You can't have that happen. And by the way, folks, this is why I moaned and groaned about last week's win against Florida State and how lackluster the defense looked at times. This is what I'm talking about. That was not a one-off. That's what I was trying to warn you about. I'm not right about a lot, but in this particular area, I'm come pretty close. Probably 75, 80 percentile. I think I'd listen to me. That was a one-off against a bad football team. You beat a bad football team. How? You beat them bad. And you're seeing this week, do you not see it? Maybe you're too stubborn. Maybe you're too prideful. Maybe you're too drunk on Mike's Hard Lemonade. Maybe you got a hold of some good NyQuil or something. Maybe you got a sugar high. Maybe you stopped by the candy store and you ate a handful of, So much candy that right now you're this close to diabetic booties. I told you. I told you that that was not a one-off. You have to fix that, and this is the game to fix it. Because I'll tell you this, VT's going to play you hard. Pittsburgh, I'm not sold on them, but until they lose, you have to respect them. South Carolina is giving Alabama a heck of a game right now. South Carolina is looking a lot better this year than what most of their fans expected. I'm talking about the legitimate fans, the fans who actually will say, hey guys, we're going to be bad. They had a close loss to LSU and quite frankly got robbed. That was a terrible call, and I'm far from a Gamecocks. Don't like the Gamecocks. I could care less if they stop playing football tomorrow. In fact, it would be funny. But fair is fair is fair. The Gamecocks are going to play Clemson tough this year. Unless something happens. And you can't have coverage like we've had in this game against them. Like this. Or else, you know what? You'll lose 2 out of the past 3 years. You really want that? Then you got to clean it up. Clemson, clean it up. Pull it together. All right, folks, I will catch you. Unless something happens, I'll catch you at the very end of the game. Talk about hopefully a Tiger win. We should win. Hopefully Clemson will pull it together a little more and be more aggressive. But we will talk about that and more. You take care of yourself, and as always, go Tigers.